Não sei dizer, tudo é novo pra mim. Meu coração se renova. Sinto a esperança invadir o meu ser. Quero ser manso, ser limpo, ser justo e pobre de espírito ser. Tua palavra me sonda, me conta do reino que espera por mim. Eu te ofereço meu pranto, as dores da alma que quer renascer. Eu ouvi tua voz, teu falar me encantou. Quis seguir, caminhar, quis saber pra onde vou. Eis-me aqui, minha dor sereno. There is a feeling around me I can't describe. It is all new to me. Oh Lord, my heart is reviving. A feeling of hope is invading my soul. I want to be gentle, be pure, be fair, and a humble kind of man. Jesus, your loving voice reach me, telling of the kingdom that waits for me. I offer you all my tears and pains of a soul that wants to be reborn. I have heard your voice amaze me. Want to follow your steps, want to know where I'm going. Here I am, my soul is with me. Eu ouvi tua voz, teu falar me encantou. Quis seguir,
manso, ser limpo, ser justo e pobre de espírito ser. Tua palavra me sonda, me conta do reino que espera por mim. Eu te ofereço meu pranto, as dores da alma que quer renascer. Eu ouvi
Today, we're going to have the interpreters Sonia Mendes and Bruno Soares, to which we already want to extend our thanks. Now, we're going to talk about our presenter for today. Is Fernando Peron. He's a writer, a voiceover actor, and director. He's a researcher of the Spiritist, writer, and founder of the project Saber e Mudar. But now, let's pray with our brother Carlinhos.
Salve, evangelizadores do mundo.
Hail, world's
Paz de Jesus,
evangelists.
agora e sempre. Graças
May you be
a Deus.
blessed with Jesus' peace.
Chamamos evangelizadores, desde o mais importante ao mais simples,
Every single evangelist out there,
levando
from the simplest to the most
rede vivo, esse
complexes,
consolador que nos traz a paz e a calma na alma que
they want to share
tantas vezes
the word of
fala sobre
Christ,
Jesus Cristo.
share its peacefulness every time we mention the name
Licença
of Christ.
para rogar a nossa querida mãe Maria de Nazaré.
We would like to pray
Todos com
for the
seu
mother of Jesus.
prazer
May she shroud us all
e a calma na alma necessária para que o palestrante
with
desta
her
noite
mantle of peace,
o seu melhor
bringing us the calmness
tanto buscando
so that our speaker today might share his opinions with us without any issues, so we can share his spiritual knowledge. We'd like to thank our brother Jorge Hess. Thanks and God bless you all.
como nós já anunciamos o nosso irmão
As we previously mentioned, our brother here, Fernando Peron, is going to discuss the originality of Chico Xavier's works. So here it is, our brother Fernando Peron. Welcome, my friend.
Fernando, só precisa tirar do mute, tá mutado.
Pronto, estão me ouvindo?
Sim, tudo ok.
Hello, can you hear me?
Boa noite,
Okay.
Jorge Reis, muito obrigado.
Good evening, Jorge Hayes. Thank you so much, my friend.
Todos os que estão assistindo.
Good evening to everyone who is here watching us, the ones who are going to watch us later in Brazil or anywhere else in the world. I'm always very thrilled to be here, to participate, and of course to follow the World Meeting of Jesus Friends with Chico Xavier and all his legacy. Every year we have been following the event ever since 2011, even when it happened abroad in Portugal, Lisboa. Always very exciting to be there. The entire Vivência Espírita team, Rodrigo Costa, Jorge Reis, of course, our thanks to Carlinhos, who performed our prayers today. Everyone who's working and putting a lot of effort into creating this beautiful work. The initial video is so thrilling. I've watched it a lot and it always gets me very emotional. So congratulate to everyone for realizing, putting this project together, following the ideals, following Christ's ideals and Chico Xavier's ideals. Would like, of course, to thank the invitation to be here. The person that idealized everything, the first international and the fourth national one, our friends Carlos Barcelli, who has done a lot for Spiritism and contributing to the work for many decades. And of course, my thanks to our friends Carlos, that is part of our project Saber e Mudar, a very dedicated person that, and without him, wouldn't be able to place everything here together. Of course, our interpreters, they are going to be here today, Sonia Mendes and Bruno Soares. Such a beautiful work that you guys do, spreading the doctrine to our brothers that only speak English. Of course, I know that I have to speak a little slowly So if by any means I speak a bit faster, please let me know that I'll continue. Just nothing, nothing too much, just a gentle nudge, virtual nudge, and I'll be here. And I'll start speaking slowly. I'm not sure how you're going to let me know. I'm not looking WhatsApp. I'm mad at it this week. It was down for 6 weeks. It was down for 6 hours, I'm sorry. But somebody's going to let me know if the interpreters need me to speak a bit slowly. Also, I'd like to just apologize for our speakers of Portuguese, because I'm going to speak just a little bit in English right now, because it's a pleasure that I have the presence of you guys working with me and being able to get this simultaneous interpreting. Because, you know, it is important for us to be together with everyone, but it's just gonna be a brief comment and I'll be back into Portuguese, okay?
English-speaking friends abroad. We are all together in these studies about Chico Xavier's life and works, because Chico Xavier belongs to the entire humanity, not only to Brazil. And you have there Chico Xavier's books in English and other languages to study. But we have a very serious problem. You have to check if these translations are based on original books or based on adulterated books. The same problem that you have here in Brazil about the new editions, different editions. So you have to check, you have to demand it from the publishers. Good translations based on original books. And another thing, we have to know if the translators are prepared to do this job. Do they really have deep knowledge about Spiritism and Chico Xavier's life and works? Yeah, we can't accept it so easy. We have to pay attention. It's a very serious problem. But we'll talk a little bit about it, just a little bit at the end of our lecture today, okay? In Portuguese. So I can't keep on speaking English. I will come back to Portuguese, okay? Thank you, friends, and welcome. And now, voltando para o português.
Now, I'm going to be speaking Portuguese again. So the theme of our year is the gospel in Chico Xavier's works. And it's the first world meeting of Chico Xavier's friends of Jesus and Chico Xavier and all his legacy. Jesus and Chico, which are our true friends. But have we been true friends for them and Chico inside of the doctrine spirit? We make a lot of mistakes in face of this apostle of Jesus. We make our faults. And sometimes by making and having these faults, committing these faults, we bring a lot of issues and problems to the spread of the doctrine, even though it only wants to spread universal knowledge that it doesn't really need to be believed because they're universal truths. That with limited science, Earth's limited science going to little by little catch up to it, of course. And Chico has brought in such a unique work with over 500 books out there available for us to study. But a lot of times, even inside the movement, there are issues. Chico Xavier had suffered all these attacks, all these issues pretty much throughout his entire incarnation, throughout an entire century, actually, even before his incarnation, as we have seen in true bibliographies about him. We know that even before he incarnated, he was already being looked for by inferior spirits that want to do not good in the spiritual plane, trying to go after true knowledge that have been brought by Jesus and by all the apostles that ever so brings the knowledge that we need to know. So it's only natural that these attacks would eventually happen. Chico, of course, conquered all of them throughout decades of effortlessly working. And this material, of course, not only the ones that came through his hands, but also through a great deal of different writers that, of course, told about and wrote about his life, which everything is connected, bringing this knowledge to us all. We usually say that even before he reincarnated, he was being attacked, as we can see in many works of his life. He then wanted to reincarnate in a different place that there wasn't really Leopoldo in Minas Gerais, but the spiritual world found about Allan Kardec, which was going to reincarnate again to continue spreading his message and his works. And Chico, as he told a lot of people, had to take a small deviation of that plane and start a new one. So in 1910, he incarnated in the city of Leopoldo. And throughout his entire life, he suffered these attacks and interferences, even from his childhood. He was beat up a lot because of this. When he got older, when he started to work, and he worked throughout his entire life, everything, all the stories are well known. But Chico kept loving and producing, overcoming every single obstacles. That continued even though when he got older, when he got really, really old, and even after he disincarnated. But unfortunately, these attacks, they keep happening. And I'm sorry, I always get a lot of very emotional. I'm talking about this because it's very sad to see. Well, we, our friends, we need to wake up to this reality. We need to fight for it because we need that his entire work that has been adulterated be corrected. We have been working effortlessly even against the resistance of the Spiritist community and understand the truth about this reality. So today, what we are going to talk about is not just the small details that have been happening of the books of adulterations, but invite you all, spirits and non-spirits, to study this reality and discover the evidences that we have about these adulterations.
So we'll now start with the first block of slides. Tell me when it's ready, please. Okay. The earlier one. We see here the cover of the article we wrote in June called Seriousness and the Extent of Adulterations of Chico Xavier's Works. And we took 6 months to write it. It has 17 items, and it's available on our website, Saber e Mudar. It's important that the audience check this material because it's impossible to see it in details. So 117 works which have been tempered and published by the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, which has been so benevolent to the Spiritist movement and has been working for over a century, but they do not admit their mistakes. And this serious mistake, the adulteration of Chico Xavier's works. So you can see on the right, the FAB logo, which has been changed along the years. And all editions you find from 2012, which are being published and sold, and many people have them at home, all of them with this logo, they are tempered. They are not valid for our studies. So you can see some of our Spiritist friends. This is not an assumption. It has been done. We have researched about these works by these companions who dedicated themselves and worked hard to conclude this without a rush and with the necessary proofs. These friends, they don't care about their names being disseminated, but we want to quote them, not only for transparency's sake, but for a matter of justice. So André Luiz Bonaparte, Carla Fabris, Cláudio Mário, Helena Ventura, Tanabi, São Paulo.
Fernando Luiz R. Gonçalves, de Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais. Francisco Fernandes, São Paulo, SP. Hamilton Bassi, São José do Rio Preto, São Paulo. Isaac Valério, Juiz de Fora, Minas Gerais. Kátia Poubel, Rio de Janeiro.
Poubel, Rio de Janeiro. Nuno Emanuel, Lisboa, Portugal. Rafael Geber, São Paulo. Roberto Salgado Filho, from Uberaba, Minas Gerais. We are really thankful for all of you who dedicated yourselves to this research on the adulterations. Next slide, please. 117 works that have been tempered. So we have these images comprehending the covers of Chico Xavier's works. So many people disregard them due to the cover, but the content, the enlightenment they bring, and about the spiritual truths, they are there. In old days, the cover were not full of visual resources like the ones today. They were simpler, but they had the real works of Chico Xavier, which we don't have anymore. I don't know if there's another slide. So here you can see the file inside Saber e Mudar project website, where you can reach information, detailed information. If you are a serious spiritist, you should get information about these works, about these adulterations. So we have this all organized, files, articles, texts related to this problem. So you have articles, texts. You can give a print screen of the slide so that you can access the link later. We also have videos and images, and we have 2 Facebook pages regarding this issue. And we will also show later, we also have a website that has been restored the original works of Chico Xavier in a way to preserve his serious work, which has not been done by FEB, which should have done that. Next. This is an article we wrote in June, Seriousness and Extent of Adulterations of Chico Xavier's works, but don't make a speed reading. Pay attention to it. Pay attention to all the matters involved in this adulteration and this FEB's intent and what their consequences are. I believe this is it. So now let's talk about, we don't have enough time. So let's talk about how it started. This collection, the Gospel, according to Emmanuel, we read it with pleasure before we found the problems. It was released by FEB in the last years. The Gospel according to Emmanuel. There are 7 books written by Chico Xavier from Emmanuel Spirit. We're gonna name each one of these covers, which talks about Chico Xavier's and Emmanuel's work throughout decades of good services. And also, we have the Reformador magazine. Unfortunately, they started tempered the gospel verses, which is an absurd, which is against all the Chico Xavier's work and the spirit doctrine. They had no right to do so. Many of these chapters have been mistranslated without any authorization. And it makes it difficult for us to understand Emmanuel's words. So this creates a problem. Moreover, the texts have been tempered, modified, which is a crime. Next slide. You are gonna see. This is the first book, the Gospel according to Emmanuel, and comments on the Gospel according to Matthew. Then we have comments on Gospel of Mark, then comments on the Gospel of Luke, then number 5 comments on the Gospel of John, and comments on Acts of the Apostles, the letters of Paul, and the last one, the comments on universal letters and the book of Revelation. This material is not valid for us to study. It's such a pretty, such beautiful covers, so organized. It could have been useful if it was not a matter of adulteration. So let's see next slide. It's a little covered here, but I think I can see it. So the basis, the fundament of this collection are the works. These are the original covers, the original editions. It's a fantastic collection of Living Spring. We have Vine of Light, Harvest of Light, Words of Eternal Life, which is from another publishing house, Follow Me. from Clarim Publishing. These all have been tempered. They had no right to do so. Then on next slide, we have, what a pity, covers, so beautiful covers, which enriched their edition. However, their content is not valid for our studies. I hope FEB admit their mistakes and restore the originality of Chico Xavier's works. So let's go to next slide. So you will see living source, which is composed of, so the truth, the way, the truth, and the life, our daily bread, living spring, and the harvest of light. So you can pay attention, you can see the FEB's logo. They all have logos, new FEB's new logo. So we have this from 2012, which have all been tempered, and they should be disregarded because Chico Xavier's work has been modified without the Spirit's authorization. And we have the detailed. So this is really serious because we Spirits, we need to restore this enlightened content, which are so high quality content that they come from Christian, from superior words, and have been written by this greatest apostle, Chico Xavier. So let's go to the next slides. Just before that, I would like to tell you about the previous collection. One of the scholars who analyzed in details this content of the adulteration, he mentioned that Living Spring, there are 350 modifications that FEB made to this word, 350 modifications. This is not acceptable. This is not just a spelling review. We had, for sure, some spelling and grammar, but that's not the issue. We are talking about ideas, modification of words, and the choice of verses and mistranslations. So now we are going to see the slides. Next slides. This collection has also been tempered. 5 books by Emmanuel, which are deep and lovely novels. Take a look at these beautiful covers. So we are so sad to tell you they have been tempered. This is the original edition. This has no adulteration, but we cannot find them anymore. Or maybe in some libraries, but you only have the tempered ones. 2,000 years ago, there's another, that is the original cover, and this is the tempered one. So 50 years later, it's a masterpiece, and this is the original cover, and this is the tempered one. Next. Paul and Stephen, this is the original version. And the next one with tempered content. Renunciation, another masterpiece. Original cover and tempered book. Finally, Hail Christ. You have the original cover and the tempered. Let's go to the next slide.
Another book from the collections that belong to the study of Emmanuel. Sadly, they all have been tampered with. They're taking a while here. I know it can be a little bit tiresome, but it's extremely essential that we wake up to this reality and that we refuse to buy this adulterated material. So we're going to review this collection here, in which Emmanuel, Chico, studied the Spiritist codification, the Spirit and the Truth. We're just going to review the covers here that have been from books that have been tampered with. Study and Live, of Divine Justice, The Spirit's Religion, The Medium's Harvest. And I believe that's it. I think we can move on to our next collection. Okay. Another collection from the Spirit of Emmanuel. Let's move on so I can mention them. We have a beautiful masterpiece, On the Way to the Light, that brings up the evolution of humankind on the planet Earth. We have The Comforter, Emmanuel, which is the first work from the Spirit of Emmanuel through Chico Xavier. We have the book Scheduled Meeting, Words from Emmanuel, Thoughts in Life, another masterpiece, Script, Right Path, Life and Sex. I believe this is the last one. We're not showing all of them, by the way, just a few of the works, which, by the way, have beautiful covers, but sadly have content that have been tampered with. Look at this other collection that revolutionized by bringing the greatest message of the Spirit's religion, the life of the Spiritists in a higher plane, comparing scientific anticipations from the works of André Luiz. Beginning during the 40s, a lot of these teachings and revelations are being proven by the science of our physical realm. They all have been asserting the book's messages. Now let's take a look at another covers here. Sadly, all these editions have content that have been tampered with. We have Nosso Lar, Spiritual Home, The Messengers, Missionaries of the Light, Workers of the Eternal Life, In the Greater World, Liberation, Between Heaven and Earth, in the realms of mediumship, action and reaction. Mediumship mechanisms, sex and destiny, and life goes on. Let's just try to speed up a little bit because of the hour. Let's see the next set of books. So here, works from the Spirit of Humberto de Campos, Irmãos X, which is the same, which is a Brazilian writer, actually, that after he disincarnated, he also kept alive his literary spirit that have been brought to life through Chico Xavier's hands, with chronicles, historical novels. Let's take a look very briefly from them. Once again, adulterated covers, Good News, Brazil, the World's Heart, and the Gospel's Homeland, Letters and Chronicles, tales from this life and other lives,
contos e apólogos,
tales and epilogues,
crônicas de além-túmulo,
chronicles from beyond the grave,
estante da vida,
life wreck,
histórias e anotações,
stories and notes,
Lázaro redivivo,
Lazarus reborn,
luz acima.
light above.
Encerramos aí. Novas
Are we done?
mensagens.
Oh, sorry, new messages,
Encerramos. Pontos e contos,
points and tales,
relatos da vida,
life accounts,
reportagens de além-túmulo.
reports from the afterlife.
Encerramos.
I believe this was the last one.
Para terminar, vamos ver mais algumas capas
So-
de espíritos diversos.
Just so we can finish here, let's take a look at some book covers here from some other collections.
Belíssima obra.
We have back, beautiful collection
Isso.
Jacob.
Irmão Jacó. Isso.
from Brother Jacob. That's it.
De além, espíritos diversos.
Voices from Beyond,
Instruções psicofônicas.
psychophonic instructions,
Ilustrações.
ideas and illustrations, drops of light,
Antologia da espiritualidade, creio que seja o último, não é?
anthology of spirituality.
Muito bonitas.
All these covers, despite being extremely beautiful,
Temos acesso.
contains
Se você tem
tempered text, and we should not accept this.
saiba,
If you have
não serve
these
para
books,
esses estudos.
you have to know, unfortunately, that they are not
Todas elas
good for our works. So am I going to donate them? No, you're not going to donate them because you're going to donate content that they're no good because they have been tampered with. Of course, you can keep them to study, maybe compare how the texts were tampered, were adulterated with the original work, so you can really see it for yourself. But for our studies, they are no good, not even for promoting them. So, of course, we have to try to recuperate those old and original works that haven't been tampered with. And while we still don't have them, while the Brazilian Spiritist Federation doesn't hold and doesn't let us know what happened and assume their guilt with this, we have to find another source. So now we're going to show you just a really quick glance at our website here from Project Saber e Mudar. Here, for example, let me see if I can show you. So the website is www.saberemudar.com.br. We're very focused here in spreading the works of Chico Xavier. Here on the main page, if you scroll down a little bit, you see the link that I showed you in the beginning, which have a lot of material about this issue. The alterations of the works of Chico Xavier by the Brazilian Spiritist Federation. So if you click here, you're going to see that we have everything here organized. Of course, we don't have everything. We don't have every single thing, but you can find a lot of information here, which has been organized by articles, related texts, videos, which we talked about already. We got some banners, 2 Facebook pages, and another website here, which is recuperating the original works of Chico Xavier. Let's click here in articles. The first article is the one that we mentioned here before, which we wrote and created. As you can see, it's divided into 17 items, which should be studied, analyzed in details, so this entire issue can be clarified. Not only about the items, the actual adulterations, but what it is actually behind the whole problem, the motivations behind it. The motivations that could be behind this problem. And that I'm sure is going to be settled as we move forward, knowing every day a bit more about this issue, when we know and understand our responsibility with this matter, so we can get the correction that we earned to have. So going back here, You can see other articles on the same subject here in related texts. You can see here some biographies on his life. If you go to the videos page, you can see many different videos with several pieces from different interviews and personal statements. And in particular, I would like you to take a look at this live right here. Was made and recorded last year in November. It has over 3 hours with many guests that have studied a lot about this theme, discussing about it, which have even tried to contact FAB to try to resolve this issue. So, as you can see right here, examples showing the adulterations, since we couldn't show everything, because, you know, if we did that, the live would last for over a week, you know, and even doing all of this, it lasted over 3 hours. You have a medium psychologist talking about the problems with these adulterations. So let's go back here, my friends. Sorry, please, can you keep this page? Before we go, I'd like to show another thing here. Here, in the option Facebook, there are 2 pages here in which we constantly post information about these adulterations. And lastly, the website that we created, bringing back and recuperating original works of the Chico Xavier. It's been coordinated by different people. This website has been of extreme importance for trying to bring the original works alive, which is a shared responsibility, since we don't have the new editions with the correct and original content in them. So we can find a lot of things here. We even ask your collaboration. You know, if you have this old books, please reach us, contact us, so we can also collaborate with us in this project of respecting and honoring the works of Chico Xavier. Let's go back to the live.
Friends, that's it. So as I said in the beginning, it's not just talking about it. What is the word? What is the book that has been tempered? Many people ask that because they are kind of lazy. They don't study. But this is serious and it's really detailed. You cannot understand just by watching a video. You have to study. We have to compare these works, the old editions and the new ones, so that you can deeply understand the issue and all the issues involving it. The Spiritist doctrine has to do with learning, with experimenting, living charity, but the Spiritist science has to be within ourselves so that we can understand and we can check the serious works. And Allan Kardec and Chico Xavier's are really important, and we cannot allow this to happen. We cannot accept these adulterations. That's why I say Chico Xavier and Christ are our friends. And have we been friends of them? So this is something for you to think about it. I appreciate your audience. I appreciate Vivência. I thank you, Vivência Espírita. And I hope that Chico always inspires us in our actions. Thank you. We are the ones who appreciate for having Fernando Peron here and to have his talk, even his emotional side. We know the seriousness, the way he take serious the works of Chico Xavier. So much before the knowledge of this adulteration, Fernando was already a researcher. And he's one of the only people I know that who have led all the works of Chico Xavier. 495. Can you? He has only read 495. Can you believe that? Just 10, 15. If we have read 20% of that, we already learned a lot. If we could read all that, but it's interesting because his comments and everything he says, is all based on research, on things that he knows for a fact, based on his studies. So once again, we appreciate your talk, and all Chico Xavier's friends. We thank you for this, for your research and these annotations. So I invite people to check Saber e Mudar project, where you can find information. As Fernando mentioned, people want to know where the mistakes are. If we go there, if we check, we are going to see the comparisons. And it's not only a matter of words. There are some serious mistakes. So go there, research. The research is already done there. We have to research the research. You enter the website and see what's going on, because they have performed such a huge research, and there are 117 works which have been tampered. So we would like you to keep with us, to follow us. We still have 3 days to go of this international event. So tomorrow we'll have Friday, October 8th, we'll have Sônia Barsanti, who will bring the theme, the gospel in the work and life of Chico Xavier. At 8:30 on October 9, we'll have Noêmia Maria José talking about primitive Christianity. That will be at 2 p.m. because at 3 we have the couple and friends Sérgio Santos and Marlene from Nuberaba, who's going to do the musical gospel about Chico Xavier. And on Sunday, October 10th, there will be our closing with Carlos Bacelli. And the theme is the Comforter at 3 p.m. Therefore, I hope you are here with us through the end of this week that has been really excellent. Once more, I want to thank you, our interpreters, also dubbing artists, Sônia Mendes and Bruno Soares. We thank you them on behalf of Vivência Espírita team and on behalf of Chico Xavier's friend. Therefore, good night. Just before we'll pray, our brother Carlinhos will pray. And please check our bookstore, Scandeia bookstore. We have books of messages. Here you can see the number of titles we've got there. We have 666 books, messages. So you have here the total number of titles in our bookstore, all then related to Chico Xavier's or books written by him. So you have to enter Amigos de Chico Xavier .vivenciaespírita.org. vivenciaespírita.org. I just would like to remember that the revenues of Candeia's bookstore will be donated to 2 organizations in Pedro Leopoldo and Uberaba, 2 non-profit organizations based on the sales revenues. So let's do our closing prayer here. We appreciate of all of doctrinates with calm for us to work here, to work our internal transformation, and so that we can try to step by step to develop ourselves. I thank you the presence of all of you, and we ask Jesus to illuminate us and to thank you. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. So it may be. Thank God. Thank God. So let's keep in peace and with the love of Jesus Christ. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Vivência Espírita.